All right. Thanks, Andre, for making time. This particular training module is entitled Ask and You May Receive. Of course, Jesus says, Ask and you will receive. But the reality is that many of our prayers are not answered the way we want them to be. Oh, and you remember, even Jesus, one of his very fervent prayers that somehow the Lord would remove the cup of suffering from him was not answered. And so that's why I phrase it, ask and you may receive. Basically, it's an encouragement for us to keep praying even when some of our prayers are not answered. And that's why in the visits that we're about to partake in a few moments, I'm hoping that we'll get a chance to just pray for the people that we meet. And so I believe prayer is an important part of what we're doing. So keep praying, even when some of our prayers are not answered. Yeah. So ask and you may receive. Of course, it comes from Matthew, where Jesus says, ask and it will be given, seek and you will find, knock and the door will be opened to you. As mentioned, sometimes we face unanswered prayers, and the reality is that many of our residents and their families have been praying over and over again for the miracle of healing, and it has not happened. They're still there. So what do we do? Do we pray for healing for our residents? And very often, when we ask them what are their needs, they may begin to ask us for favors. What to do. They'll tell us what their needs are. How do we respond? So I'm going to try to address these issues with this thought: ask and you may receive. So we always ask what their needs are and whether we can pray for them. And to sharpen the focus, especially if they are persons of faith, I ask, what are you praying for yourself? To find out how they are praying. That's why very often, if they can pray for themselves, I like to let them pray and I just listen. And you will encounter in our visits to the home that some people are actually praying for a quick, painless death. And that's why, if that is how they are praying, I will pray along with them. I don't get shocked by this and say, oh, no, don't pray like that, because that's genuinely how they feel. They say to me, I feel I'm so useless. I'm asking God to take me back as soon as possible. So, as you know, our role is to listen. And when we listen to them like that, then we pray along. And I said, yes, I'm also praying that the Lord will take me back, and if possible, I want to die without pain, certainly. And one day we all have to face death. We need not be afraid. But of course, you will encounter others who are praying for healing, in which case we join them in praying for healing. But sometimes their prayers are a little bit mixed. On the one hand, they're praying for healing. On the other hand, they don't want to have to suffer and be a burden to their family. So when they articulate that, we just join them in whatever their prayers are. Again, I think you've been with us now for some time, so we only pray for our residents with their permission. If they're not comfortable, we don't force. But whatever it is, whether, let's say, they don't want us to pray, we can always pray inwardly, secretly for them, and that is what I try to do. Now, very important, we should never say, oh, you must have sin in your life, that is why God isn't answering your prayers. I think that's most inappropriate, and we must never do that. All right? And we should also never say, okay, we're praying for healing, stop taking your medication, just trust God for healing. Okay? This also is inappropriate. Okay? Take your medicine and pray for healing. That's what we say. So as I mentioned, We're always standing with our residents and their families in their prayer, and we echo their prayer. We're with them in their pain. So we are listening carefully to them without judging. And then sometimes, as I said, when we ask them how they are, they will ask for favors. Sometimes when we do that, they'll begin to complain, and maybe sometimes they have vulgarities even, or they're angry with people or angry with their residents or their family members. We just listen without judging and to see what their requests are. And we respond like this: okay, thank you for sharing this with me. And then we try and summarize, as I mentioned on the previous time, what their requests are. And then you can always say, may I give your feedback or your requests to the chaplain? This is, of course, when you're sometimes doing this on your own. You don't have to have all the answers. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Your role is there to listen to them and to let them feel that someone has heard them. And then when you feed it back to us as the chaplaincy team, I will feed it back to Chupo, who is the main person, the main chaplain there. And she is in touch with the others in the caring team. And then she will help us and guide us to know what is appropriate. So with consultation, and we check with the nurses, actually lots can be done if they have certain requests. Like I say, they would like to go out. So now again, with the pandemic rules being lessened, simple outings may be possible. So we listen, and in that sense, we are answering some of their prayers. Like, I would like to get out of here for just a few hours, or something like that. Or I would like char kway teow, and then we just say, oh, that's interesting. So we note their request, we feed it back to the chaplain, and the chaplain will check with the nurses, is it possible? And so maybe we can really bring char kway teow as a special treat for them. So volunteers have brought favorite snacks and taken them for outings. But, as a volunteer there, you are under no obligation to do so. Okay, so don't feel just because they ask, you must answer. Ask, and they ask, and they may receive, maybe they won't. Okay, so it works that way too. Do we pray for healing for our residents? Yes, with their permission and in line with their own prayers. So this is like a quick summary. Ask and you may receive. We never try and defend God. Why he hasn't answered the prayers? We actually don't know why he does not answer many of our prayers. But we keep asking in the hope that we may receive. Yeah? So we don't give up hope, and always we have the hope of the resurrection. And one day there will come a time when all our pain and our sickness and our worries will be gone. So that concludes my short sharing on this.